Hi, it's Ham Radio Perspectives. I'm Quin, K8QS, and I normally do this channel with my co-host Tom, WA9TDD, but I thought I would do a series of videos about operation and actually demonstrate operation on some of the bands and some of the modes. And then Tom and I may do some of those together, but I'll do things like SSB on my own since I operate that more than Tom does. On the channel, we get a lot of great questions and comments from people, and lately I have been receiving personally some about operation. I have done a couple of videos on how to call CQ or what to do if the band seems to be dead and the like, and people really responded well. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try for the first time with this video, and let me know what you think. This is just the opening, then you're going to see what actually happens when I get on the air, and during that video I have posted some comments to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing or what's happening. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to summarize it all up with what are the top takeaway tips for operation on sideband in the kind of conditions that I was operating on. So I just went into this, whatever the band conditions were, I was going to tackle it. I got on 17 meters about 1:20, 1:30 in the afternoon here in Eastern Time Zone, and looked around to see if I could make any QSOs with my IC7300 and off-center fed antenna. And you'll see what happens, but just to give you a little bit of a preview, the band is in pretty bad shape. Conditions are not good. On top of that, some of the wildest QSB, that means signals coming up and down in strength, some of the wildest QSB I have ever operated in my almost 60 years in the hobby, with stations coming in and out, and not just in the US, but suddenly popping up from Europe, and as you'll see, even from Russia and I think the Ukraine. So it's a wild time, and again, stay tuned, look at the comments along the way, then at the very end, I'll wrap it all up for you, okay? Thanks so much for watching. Hey, it's Quin, K8QS with Ham Radio Perspectives. I did a video a while back where I got live on 17 meters when the band was supposedly dead and showed you that it wasn't really dead because I just called CQ a few times and worked some stations. Got similar conditions today. Let's take a look at the band right here as I raise the AF gain and tune around a little bit. Let me first go down the band here, and you can see once again the digital signals are coming in the FT8. See what how strong some of them are. S8, S9, look at that. Holy smokes. Turn down the AF gain a little bit here. So the band definitely is open, but when you start to tune up the band, you don't hear anything. Just plain dead. See if anything is up here. Wow. Whiskey 4. Okay, that sounded like a net. All right, we're going to do a CQ here. Let's see what we can cook up. There are stations out there. A little bit of a birdie there from some kind of interference. Is the frequency in use? This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Anyone around the frequency? Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Calling CQ, 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 calling CQ. Calling CQ, 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 calling CQ. Calling CQ, CQ, CQ. This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra, K8QS calling CQ, CQ, CQ. Calling CQ, CQ, CQ. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra calling CQ from Michigan and listening for any call. All right, let's try that again. Was that K0? Give me your call a couple of times, over.
Okay, call is Whiskey 2, Mike, Golf, Foxtrot. Whiskey 2, Mike, Golf, Foxtrot.
QSL, W2MGF, W2MGF. Good afternoon, my friend. This is K8QS here. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. In case you're using a directional antenna and want to tune it in. My name is Quin, that's Q-U-I-N, Quin, Q-U-I-N, in Grand Rapids. I'll give you a signal report on the next go-around. A lot of QSB, and the band is not in the greatest shape, but I really appreciate your call. W2MGF from K8QS, over.
Name is Mike, Italy, Kilo Echo, QTH, 8 miles south of Yankee Stadium, New York, Roger.
Okay, 8 miles south of Yankee Stadium. I like that. That's a good way to give your QTH. So I appreciate that, Mike. Yes, a lot of QSB. You seem to be going on the 7300 that I'm operating here from about S1 up to about S5. Whatever that means in terms of the actual S meter, but I would say you're running about 5x4, if I can pull you out okay. Occasionally you dip a little bit down below the noise. What kind of rig and antenna are you using? I've got an IC7300 here, and I'm using an off-center fed dipole, which does not favor your direction. Go ahead, Mike.
Of that. The bed is just underneath. For me right now. So Mike, if you could, Quin, if you could still hear me, 73, appreciate the contact.
Okay, Mike, 73 to you. Thanks for giving it a try. W2MGF, your Yankee Stadium. This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra listening. Any other calls, any other stations? This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra, over.
Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Foxtrot.
Well, there's a good signal. KA4 Papa Foxtrot from Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You got a good signal up here along with all of the QSB. Crazy conditions, but you're doing well. My name is Quin, that's Q-U-I-N with one N, Quin, and I'm actually in the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go ahead. Now that's QSB, he's gone. KO4PF, KO4PF from K8QS, you still there?
Roger that, Larry. Who's Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Foxtrot? You're coming through pretty good now. But anyway, my name is Ray, and I live in South Boston, Virginia, south central part of the state.
Okay, fine, Ray. Thanks for coming back. Boy, that QSB is brutal today. You're going from a zero signal up to, at one point, you were up to S7. I'm running the IC7300 with an off-center fed. What are you running there in Virginia, Ray? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm running a Yahoo 8901, and running it through a Buckmaster DX7 wire inverted V antenna.
Yeah, Roger. Thanks so much, Ray. You're doing a good job. And how do you like that that rig that you're using? I keep getting very positive reports from people. Go ahead.
Oh, the radio's great. I love it. I had trouble. One, couldn't turn it on. I got two of them actually, one from mobile and base, but I have trouble with one of them that you couldn't turn it on, and so I checked. I took my other one and put it in place of it at the same power cord, and that means the fuse was good. So it worked. And but the other one I've shipped off back to Yahoo, But the radio is a great thing. It's got every feature on it you can want.
Yeah, and how easy is it to operate? Go ahead, Ray.
Say again.
Yeah, how easy to operate? How easy to operate? Over.
Oh, it's very easy. It has a sub, has a menu, and it has a sub menu on it. For you to allow you to do all the settings, set it to FT8, digital com, or anything of that. But it's a great radio.
Yeah, that's what I hear from people. Thanks so much for the report on that. And we're glad to meet you today. The QSB is a little tough, but I really appreciate you coming back. I'm going to see if I can make one or two more QSOs here in the midst of this QSB. I'm recording this, hoping I might put it on a video channel that I have called Ham Radio Perspectives, and sometimes I do videos of live operation. This one I think I'm going to give an example of operating with heavy QSB. Ray, go ahead.
Roger that. We'll go ahead and good luck on it, and thank you very much for the contact. 73 CM, a wonderful day. Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Foxtrot.
Okay, we'll see you. Thanks so much, Ray. This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra, listening for any other stations in the QSB. Over. Any other stations out there right now? This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra, looking for any stations. Over. Okay, so we had a two-station run there in this horrible QSB. You can see on the band scope there are some other signals. Now I could go up and check them out, but before I do that, I'm going to call CQ one more time in the midst of the QSB here. Calling CQ, 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 calling CQ. Hello CQ, 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 calling CQ. Calling CQ, CQ from Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra, calling CQ and listening. This is kind of interesting. So I didn't get any responses to the CQ, but as I look at the band scope now, I see some of the signals that were there before are not there now. It looks like that one net up 10 kilohertz or 5 kilohertz is still there. I don't see anything else going on, but let's tune around just a little bit to check it out. Again, we're operating under severe QSB. Poor band conditions somewhat. Remember, some of the FT8 signals were up around S9, so it's not completely bad band conditions, but not very active. And the QSB is brutal. Let's check this station right here.
I never have gotten around, I wouldn't have that much wire to put up another 1,000 feet of wire. Copper wires got so expensive, so I ended up putting one back up. But it's about maybe 200, 300 feet, I don't know, something like that. It goes out from the little tower I got here over to a big oak tree, then over to a big pine tree, and then back to the tower again. So, and then I got a 4-to-1 baling, and then it runs coax into the radio. So, it's okay. It's nothing like the big 1,000-foot loop it was, but at least it lets me get on the air. Back to you.
I wish I could hear the other station that he's talking to, because then I would break in and say hello to both of them. But he had quite a signal, and he was thinking that his antenna isn't as good as it used to be. Of course, we don't know where he's...
SOL, Kilo 4, sure out of luck.
K4, sure out of luck. You can see that I don't have the waterfall on. For sideband purposes, I don't like it. There's enough delay in the signals above the waterfall that I find it less visually noisy, and I can concentrate a little bit better on the stations that are there.
Talking to you today. Best wishes to you, and good luck down there on the POTA station. And hopefully we'll be able to talk again. Have a great day, my friend. This is K4SOL.
K4SOL, can you go down the band about 5?
station asks me to go down 5, I'll do that and call from there. It's K4SOL.
Yeah, this is K8QS. See you there. See if we can pick them up here.
8 meters, follow the This is Mexico, Italy, 0, Sugar, Delta Radio, Mexico.
QSB K4SOL.
17 meters,
Now we got a problem.
This is Mike India, 0, Sugar, Delta Radio in Northern Ireland, calling 17.
SOL, there's a station in Ireland calling CQ. Can you go down another 5?
Yeah, QS, way down 5, yeah, QS, way down 5, over.
Oh boy. Now I got a station here too, maybe.
This is K4SOL listening.
Yeah, K4SOL from Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra. Can you copy?
Listening, over.
Uh-oh.
QS K4SOL. Yeah, I got a good copy on you. Go ahead.
Okay, stand by 1 second. We might be on somebody else's frequency. I didn't see him there, but let's listen.
Yeah, I think there's something on that thing. You want to take it down another 5125. QSB down another 5 KCs, over.
Yeah, can you guys go down another 5 or shall we go down 5? I'm talking to the station in Ireland now. This is wild.
Yeah, okay, I think try 18137. That seems to be quiet there. 18137 QSL.
Okay, so they're moving. Wow. We got DX coming in like crazy here when I'm trying to work a guy in S4 land. 4SOL, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, let me get your call right again. I forgot it here. We've got... Hold on just a second. Another DX station.
Thank you. Good luck all. Bye-bye.
Is that a Ukrainian station? K4SOL from K8QS, over.
QS K4SOL. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we've got a Ukrainian station in there. And let me just see if he's working other Europeans or what. This is crazy. Okay, he's working another station in Europe. So I don't think we'll have too much trouble interfering with him, but let's see how it goes. K4SOL, Kilo 8, Quin, Sugar, or Quebec Sierra. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. The name here is Roy, Romeo, Oscar, Yankee. I'm not hearing the other station at all, but I don't have much of an antenna here, so that's probably why. Back to you.
Yeah, Roy. Well, they're very weak, and the QSB is up and down. Where are you located, Roy?
I'm located in Gibson County, Tennessee, which is on the western end of the state, about 100 miles north of Memphis. Back to you.
Ah, great. Yeah, love that area. Beautiful area. Thanks so much for tracking me around here. The band has so much QSB on it right now, and it is open slightly into Europe, or at least it appears Eastern Europe primarily, that there can be a station suddenly come in and then go out again. And right now, as I listen between my own speaking here, I don't hear anybody. But it's crazy. The band is absolutely crazy with QSB and up and down stations. So I'm using an IC7300. My antenna is an off-center fed up about 55 feet. What are you running there, Roy?
I'm running an IC 7300 as well, the old version. Of course, now there's a new version, but this is the older one. I've had it for about, I guess 4 or 5 years, and it's simply a probably 250, 300 foot loop antenna. I had a 1,000-foot loop up here, and man, it done great. I mean, I have a lot of land. I have 40 acres here, so I've got plenty of room to string up antennas, plenty of trees to string it from. But had that up there for years, and it was a copper-coated steel wire, is what it was. And I noticed one of the ropes broke a while back, and the antenna's hanging down enough I could actually see it. And I noticed all the copper had completely eroded off, and it was just rusty steel, but it still worked. That was okay. And then one day I went out in the field, and there lay the antenna on the ground, and it was so rusted I could stick it up my hand and break a piece of it off. So I knew it was totally useless to try to put it back up. And I didn't have enough wire, so I found some old fence wire from an electric cattle fence. I had a roll of that. So I just, I'm 76 years old now, and I was a lot younger when I put that antenna up, and it's hot and humid right now. So I ended up just doing the best I could and strung it over to, from my tower here by the ham shack, over to a big oak tree, then over to a big pine tree, and then back to the tower again. Not very high up in the air either, but at least it gets me back on the air, but it sure isn't 1,000 foot, that's for sure. Back to you.
Okay, great, Roy. Now, when you had the longer version, what were you using for supports along the way? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was using trees all the way around. I had it tied off to, I guess, 5 different trees around the perimeter of the field there. Like I said, that's the thing here, the advantage of being able to put up a loop antenna here is I've got plenty of trees for support and plenty of land to string it out over. So it's kind of a no-brainer. But, a loop antenna just is never going to be any kind of directional. I don't care if it's a hex beam, a Yagi, or what. A directional antenna is going to be superior to it. But, if you have a lot of trees and a lot of room, it's a no-brainer. Back to you.
Yeah, it's a great antenna. I had one up shortly here. It was around 200 feet, 220, I think. And what I did is to screw some little screw eye bolts in some trees, and then just pulled the wire through those. So the wire was very close to the trees. Did you do that kind of thing, or how did you attach it over?
No, what I did, I've got one of those, they call it potato gun or airbag gun. It's the airbag, the little bean bag in it with lead shot. And you hook a piece of twine to that, heavy twine like surveyor twine, shoot it over the tree, and then use that to pull a heavier rope across. And then I have insulators on the end of the rope, and then just run the wire through the insulators at each tree, and then go right on around with it and back to the tower again.
Very clever. Excellent. I love that, Roy. Good for you. The loop antenna is one of the best, and of course they can perform real well when they're not high in the air, although you tend to have more of the local signals with the antenna with the higher takeoff with the loop if it's low to the ground. But the great antenna, and you're doing great. IC 7300, yeah, I'm using the original one too. I got when it first came out, whatever that was, about 10 years ago. And it pretty much does everything I need to do. The off-center fed antenna that I'm talking with you on now is actually facing your direction. So that's helping a little bit as well. And it's in a little bit of an inverted V configuration. So our ages are about the same. And I feel the same way about you. I'm not too keen on working on antennas when it's either very, very hot out, or here in Michigan, when it's super cold and icy and you slip and slide and your fingers get very frozen. But in fact, that's when most hams do the work, when the weather is lousy. For whatever reason, that's the way it goes. So Roy, 73 to you. Great to talk to you. Congratulations on the wonderful signal. K4 ROY, is that it? Same as your, or FOI, I can't remember now. I didn't write it down. But you're Roy down there in Tennessee, and we're great to work you today. This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra signing off when you're ready. Roy, go ahead.
Okay, great to talk to you today, and the call is Kilo 4 Sierra Oscar Lima, like sure out of luck, which a lot of people get a laugh out of. Actually, the station is all solar powered, and my station is in an underground storm shelter built into a hillside here on the farm, so kind of an unusual ham shack. but it's all solar powered down here since it's away from my main cabin. So I just did the SOL for solar power, and everybody thinks it means something else. But anyway, people remember it usually because of the SOL. Anyway, have a great day, and thank you for the contact. Great signal coming down this way. Very good signal. Great sounding station. So very good audio as well. Have a great day there, and once again, take it easy up in Michigan. It's very hot and humid here again. We had a couple of days of decent weather after having extreme heat and humidity. Well, the extreme heat and humidity are back again. It's going to be 95 next week with a heat index of probably 110. So time to harbor up inside again. Have a great day there. K8QS, K4SOL. 73, my friend.
Okay, Roy, K4SOL from K8QS. Final note, I might fire you an email if your email is accurate on QRZ to find out a little bit more about that kind of station you have down there. That sounds really intriguing. We'll talk to you later, buddy. K8QS.
Roger, feel free to shoot me one anytime. That is a good email address. This is K4SOL 73.
73. This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra listening.
Whiskey 1, Japan, America.
Whiskey 1, Japan, America. Thanks for calling in. This is Kilo 8 Quebec Sierra in Michigan. My name is Quin, Quin. Quin, over.
Okay, Quin, very good. Yeah, we just had the amplifier off. I just turned it back on. You're doing a great job. I'm located in Wolcott, Connecticut, which is about just a little bit west of the center of the state. And you're up in Michigan. So we got a pretty good path between us. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's your name?
Sorry, the name is Jim, Japan, New Mexico.
Yeah, Jim, we've got some really good signals here between us right now. Very interesting. This time of day, typically I expect on 17 meters that I'm starting to work primarily south and then off to the west. And I don't expect on 17 meters today at whatever it is here, about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I guess, maybe 1:30, to be working out east with the kind of quality signal that you have. So I'm interested to hear more about what you're running. My name is Quin, if I didn't tell you, Quin, Quin, and I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, the southwest part of Michigan, and I should also add that the weather here is terrific today. I won't even tell you how good it is because I doubt it could be as good at your location. So, Jim, pick it up and tell me what you're running, man. I'm really interested. W1JJA, K8QS.
K8QS from W1JJA. Okay, Quin, very good. We're running a Flex A600M with the Power Genius amplifier. It's running about what it looks like about at the moment somewhere around a kilowatt. And the antenna is the 3-element step-IR antenna up about 20 meters. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, your audio is spectacular. Often when I work somebody with a Flex, they have fantastic audio, and you do too. You've got just enough compression in there and a little boost on the highs that you're really poking through well. And of course you can do that on that kind of rig, but you've got a wonderful setup with the antenna and the amplifier and everything else. Let's have you start transmitting with the amp and then turn it off, and let's see where we're at just for the heck of it. Okay, Jim, go ahead.
Okay, I'm transmitting with the amplifier right now, and there's a lot of QSB. I noticed your signal is bouncing from about a S3 to a S9. It's amazing, the QSB right now. And you were right before. It's 1:30 here. I should say, I think 120. There it is in the afternoon. Weather here is very good. Sun's out. Temperature is about somewhere around 78 degrees, and it's a pleasant change from the hot spell we had. Now let me turn it back to you, Quin. W1JJA, go ahead.
Okay, let's have you try turning off the amp and see how you're doing.
Okay, this is the amp off, and I'm only running about, it looks like about 30 watts. Go ahead.
Okay, 30 watts, I can pick you up. On the downside of the QSB, you went down to S3. You first came back at S7, so a big difference with the amp without it. Under these conditions, with the QSB, I would say keep the amp on Normally we wouldn't need it, but as you said, this is brutal QSB. Signals are coming in and out. I was just talking to a couple of guys and moved frequency because we didn't want to interfere with other QSOs that were coming in and out, and a couple of those were from Europe and Eastern Europe, where they would just come in for 30 seconds or 60 seconds and then they would be gone. So it's quite wild. What's the area like where you live there in central Connecticut? Go ahead.
I live on the hilly section. I'm getting close to the northwestern part of the state where it's pretty hilly. I'm in the highest spot between here and Long Island Sound. My altitude is nothing really to write home about, but for this area of the country, it's pretty high. My ground level is at 1,030 feet above sea level, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. I thought the hills around there would be a little bit higher than that. I thought there were some ski areas around there too. Am I wrong? Go ahead.
No, there is, especially in northwestern. As you get higher to the closer to Massachusetts on the northwestern part of the state, you get it's called the Berkshires. There you can get up over 2,000 feet, so it's a little bit higher elevation. I'm south of that, and getting towards the center of the state, about 18 miles southwest of Hartford, which is the capital. Go ahead.
Well, there you have it, some wild operating. I cut off the very end of it. I was going on at length with that last QSO, and then I gave the frequency over to the station I was with, and I didn't want the video to be too long. So it ends kind of abruptly, but that's why it does. The main things I wanted to show you along the way, I was able to. Let me summarize some of those now and talk with you a little bit about them. The first one is a typical thing that I do when a band appears to be dead. There are other ways to check this, but what I like to do right away is go down to the digital portion, where the digital stations are operating lower in the band, and see if any of the digital signals are coming through. Because if they're coming through at a decent level, given the fact that most of those folks are using maybe 20, 30, 40 watts of power, and as you saw there, I had one signal bounce up suddenly to S9, you know the band is somewhat open. So it wouldn't be out of tune to just go ahead and see what I could do with the rest of the band. Then the second thing to note is that on 17 meters in this case, I ran across a couple of nets. Now, I don't normally check into nets unless I know something about them and how they operate, because it can be disruptive. Unless the net control station says, anyone else want to check into the such and such a net, now's the time, then I might jump in. But the two nets that I ran across, they were already operating, I don't know how long. I couldn't figure out exactly how they were doing it, so and I wasn't familiar with the nets, so I just passed that by for today. The other thing is to tune around a little bit at first on a band after you've checked if the digital signals are coming through, just to see what it's like. One of the great things about having the band scope is that you can fairly quickly see what's happening. And as I mentioned on the video, I generally turn off the waterfall portion of the 7300 when I'm doing sideband, because I find that it creates a little too much visual noise. And I just like to have the bounces of the signals above that line, above the noise line, because then I can go right to those and know that they're there. And they do last, 4 or 5 seconds before going away. So it's not that I don't have any of the benefits, let's say, of a waterfall. That's just a matter of personal preference. But I hope you can see why in the video it works well. And I put a couple little arrows on there as well. Now, one thing is, if you hear a station on and the station is fairly strong, even if the band seems to be dead, and they are going to be signing off, you can call them right away, right? Whenever anybody signs off, you can give them a call. But if they are in a QSO with a station who first had that frequency, then you have to be careful. Then you have two options. One is to say, can you go down the band real quickly, get off the frequency? In other words, I'll see you down 5. So I could look at the band scope and say, boy, it seems to be clear down 5. But in heavy QSB, it might not be, but I can try that. In the one case, I could tell that the station was operating contacting a POTA, Parks on the Air. Well, the Parks on the Air station would have that frequency, and then others come on to contact the POTA station. And so in that case, definitely, you might quickly see if you can get the station you want to work that has a decent signal to move, but the POTA guy really has that frequency. Another thing I'd like to say is about calling CQ, and I did this in my video on calling CQ as well. The thing about CQ when the band is fairly dead is that your CQ needs to be long enough that people will find you. Not everybody has a band scope to see you popping up. There are a lot of hams on HF that have old-fashioned rigs without that. So you don't want a protracted CQ, but you want a CQ long enough that somebody tuning around on what appears to be a dead band is likely to find you. Or if they have a band scope, they'll see that you're there and come in. So I tried to call CQ long enough, but not too long, to give my call repeatedly and use phonetics a lot because of the QSB. I knew that was going to be a challenge, and so I had to call CQ and really get those phonetics out there. Also, when the band is like this with the QSB, so awful, you really have to be patient. In other words, stations are going to come up and go down, come up and go down. That one time I was talking to a station, very shortly, he was fairly strong, turned it over to him, he was gone. But I figured he's going to come back fairly quickly, so I'm not going to leave right away or start calling CQ. I'm going to wait a little bit to give him a call. I waited maybe 5 seconds, 7 seconds, gave him a call, and sure enough, he came back. He was wondering what was going on my end too, of course, at the same time. So that is really a great trait to keep your patience. Another issue is, what do you do if amidst the heavy QSB, you can only get part of a call from someone else? What do? Well, you take whatever part of it you get, and you say, like, maybe you got 2 letters out of the call, and you give those 2 letters back. You say, I hear a station with Mike and Sally calling. Please call again. Please call again. And if I got that wrong, it's not MS. Please call again anyway, because you don't want to turn them off. You may have gotten those phonetics wrong. So you stay with it right there. You get what you can, and then keep moving. Another thing I like to do with all of my QSOs, even when the band is bad like this and there's heavy QSB, is to ask the person I'm working something interesting about them. Ask them more. If they have an interesting antenna, ask them about it. A big loop antenna, the other one came down, you put a new one up. What was that all about? Tell me about that. I'd like to know about loop antennas and your loop antenna to show interest in the other person. If they tell me they're located in an area that I've been to, let's say in central Connecticut, which in my mind is kind of a nice hilly area, beautiful area, mention that and say something about that. Whereabouts do you live there? What's it like? What's the terrain? Do you have hills around you? Do you have ski areas? Whatever it is, get beyond just the rig, the weather, the antenna, the signal reports. And related to that, I should say, giving signal reports when you've got QSB like that is a real trip, isn't it? What do? Do you average it out? Well, I usually say, hey, you're running anywhere from S1 to S6 or something like that, up and down, and then they'll give you the same kind of report, which is much better than trying to average that or say, on average, you're running S5. That doesn't tell much. I want to know if my signal is going down below the meter on the other guy's rig and the like. So those are some things that I hope you will find helpful for operating in these kinds of conditions where the band conditions seem not to be so great. The digital signals are there. The band is open, but then you find out it's got horrific QSB, so you work your way through it. And always remember, when you have the frequency and you stop a QSO, you can then ask for other stations. Okay? It's not that you own the frequency, but it's your privilege as to whether or not to stay on that frequency. And so unless I'm short on time, I will always say right away when I sign off with the other station, anyone else around, any other stations, I don't say QRZ unless somebody else has already been calling me, because QRZ means who's calling me. But I'll ask if there are any other stations out there that want to have a QSO or check in with me for a minute. I'd love to hear from you. And if I don't get a response the first time, I'll wait about 5 to 10 seconds and do it again And as you saw, often there will be stations out there listening to the QSO who want to jump in, but they're reluctant, and so all they need is a kind invitation. And there you go. You can make a run of station after station if you do that, even on a band where the conditions wouldn't seem to support it. So I hope this helps. Please subscribe to the channel here. Post some notes down below as to whether or not this kind of operating video is helpful to you. I'm even thinking of doing some with slow speed CW for those who are newer to CW or just learning it, as well as with other modes. But we'd really like your input. Little thumbs up, subscribe, let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Quin, Quin, 1N, and I'm K8 Quebec Sierra here in Michigan, 73.